family and friends, brothers and sisters. Great to see you tonight. I think we have some interesting patches in this sort of tapestry of information. I have a few interesting things that I got from X, as well as a kind of a broader understanding and possibly a way for us to move forward as a community. I've been talking to my friend Shelby, and we thought to ourselves, why don't we develop a course on ascension? And we'll do it. There'll be certain assignments, certain understandings, but we've really been through all the understandings. All you need to know, I mean, is probably been presented in multiple levels. However, I do think some assignments will be necessary. However, everyone is holding on a different level with this ascension process. Therefore, I thought to myself, let's have an interactive session once a week with the people who are interested in the ascension process, and they can ask questions or answer questions. I mean, I'm not opposed to learning more about it myself. Remember, we are all students of the ascension, and Q says focus, focus, ascend. This is our goal right now, not to master, in my opinion, not to master the Q clock or to be able to interpret the comms necessarily. I think this is important as well, but I think we're way beyond that. I think we've developed a resilient, I won't say lifestyle, but a resilient uh, leaning, a resilient beginning towards a new light, a new life. And as my thinking is behind this, developing a course with people interacting, is that this will have the effect. Let me get to the chats going here. Hey, Andrew. This could have the effect. The intended effect is to draw the masters, is to draw those people who have attained a level of ascension together, because it is my belief that when we come together, we have more power than we do separately. And if we ascend as a community, it has tremendous power. This is an interesting kind of a thing, a kind of thought, that parallels much of the work of Ouspensky and Gurdjieff. They talked about the fourth way. They talked about Kabbalah as one path. I think they probably had Sufi mysticism, which they used some aspects of this. They talk about another thing, and they talk about the fourth way. But Ouspensky and Gurdjieff were convinced, or they told us that the ascension process is not necessarily to be done in isolation. Even though you and I have had to do this in isolation, I believe we're coming together, and I believe this course, the course I really want to call "How to Talk to God." Even though I'm not crazy about the word God, but how to talk to the divine, how to be in the flow. Let me go right away to a post by Zachary Fisher that goes to this point. Let's see if we can do this. And he says, let's see if I can master this. Come on, you. It won't go up. Let's see. Okay, let's see. So enable scroll and mission. Okay, now we waiting for permission. I'm waiting for permission to scroll on this. I don't really feel like waiting for permission. I think I'm just going to there. I'm going to bypass this little silly schoolyard kind of thing. Um, okay. Oh, so there is some kind of permission. Okay, so let me be a little more disciplined here. Let's see. Okay, now I can use this feature. I'm delighted that they have that now. Let's visit this thing. Now, this is in line with the idea of a course in how to communicate with your divine self. That's what the subject, that's what the thrust of the idea behind this idea of a course. And but it's also in order to draw great souls together to experience a sense of community where they can where we're hoping to set it up so that you'll be able to chat with each other. I had something like this with locals, but it seems like we want to do it in a little bigger way to use the chat so that in effect the masters, those who have ascended or those who are students of ascension, can speak to each other and share ideas, communicate with each other without necessarily my help. However, we will meet as a group with me there like once a week during this course, however long it takes, and Shelby's going to work out the details. We will meet once a week and we'll be able to share insights into the ascension process. So I just well, for one thing, it will fulfill a possible a lack of funding. I don't get paid by any of uh, uh, these social media outlets, whatever you want to call them. YouTube won't has refused multiple times to even consider you know uh, commercializing my channel. YouTube doesn't seem, there doesn't seem to be happening. Rumble pays me like $100 a month. It's not enough to support my community, and also that is part of the community. In that, if you feel a strong alignment with this thought stream that I am going to present as a course, you can come up and you can hang with us and you can see if the physical manifestations of life as we see it and as we live it, whether it is in alignment with your frequency or not. Some people, we've had people here that just, they don't know what we're doing, they don't understand it, and they want to bring their conception of reality up here and impose it, and not even impose it on us, but just live. They just want to come up here and live the life they always live. Well, it's not acceptable for us. It's, if you're, and that goes with my ideas about traveling. If you travel with a group of people from your hometown, you're just bringing your hometown with you. If you travel by yourself or maybe with your partner, then you are open to the influences, and that's what I want, and that's what's critical about the thing that we are creating. We are creating like a fourth way or a fifth way, another way to ascend without the confines of religion. I just saw this wonderful tape, and the person was called, I think it was John Galt, and she went through this whole thing about how we that you have to be, you have to, only at the precipice can you experience change. That we went through this experience in 2020 with COVID and COVID-19 and all this, and this catapulted us into an ability to change ourselves. And wait, well, hold on a second, what's going on? Let me just go so I can at least see the. But anyway, this is what we're thinking. We're going to create a course. If you're interested in helping us in any way, we would be delighted to have your assistance. I just want to take a brief aside and just tell the story of Shelby. Shelby and I have been working together for a couple of years. A few years ago, I told people I need help. I need help on the channel. If you find value on this, could you help me? What I meant was that I really needed help making a living, and the only way I had to make a living was through selling the LifeWave product. So I was looking for somebody to help me sell the Lifeway product that was really into it. And I still am. I'm still looking for people to help support as if, as they develop their own business around Lifeway. So Shelby reached out to me. She sent me an email and she said, I want to help. And I was like, okay. And we talked for a while and I realized, well, she really didn't want to help with the Lifeway. She wasn't really up to it. And I kind of like blew her off for a while. It's just like, this is not really for me. And then we kept in contact with each other. And I just realized she just wants to help. She was offering to come up here and help us build a house. She was offering to bring us dogs. She just wanted to help. And so I've stayed in touch with her. This is the kind of relationships that I like to build. It's like, if you are a pure person and I are not, so interested in the financial aspects, and you just want to help each other, that's monumental. So so I just came up with the idea. Actually, we came up with it together about starting a course. So I said to Shelby, I said, okay, Shelby, I'll do it with you, but only if you take a cut. In other words, she's been helping me immensely on the channel. She makes all my thumbnails. She makes contacts. She helps with schedule the Republic and this kind of stuff. I said, I'll do it with you, but I insist that you take a cut of 25% if we make any money. So this is the kind of relationship that I believe we will be having. And it's similar in a way, by the way, uh, to Lou. If you've been watching Lewis of Hopestone Enterprise, Hopestone Foundation, I've been doing a broadcast with him every week about Zeolite. Lou does not have a commercial website. If you want to buy a Zeolite water filter, which I highly recommend, and I'm going to get one myself, you have to call Lou up directly. Now, this is like old school, man. Nobody does that anymore. But this is the kind of world we are creating, our own world. We are not following. We are not waiting for Jassara Nasara. We are not waiting for XRP. We are not waiting for Jesus Christ, God forbid. We are not waiting for the Mashiach or the Mahdi. Because, I mean, and I'm not going to get off on a tangent, but it's my personal opinion that the three religions were designed to keep us, to help us oppose each other at every turn. One says that Jesus is a Mashiach, and then the Judaism says, anybody but him could be Mashiach. And, it's just like, who does that? So I don't believe in any of them. I think they're all, as soon as I talk to somebody and I'm like, I want to teach people about ascension. I want them to understand what that means. And I'm going to go through that briefly, and with this as well. And then they go, well, it's like, I love Jesus. It's like that just ends the conversation, because you're not interested in spirituality. You're not interested in ascension. You're interested in having this being in your life that does everything for you. I'm not interested in people like that. I'm not, I came from a community where everything was Mashiach. The Rebbe said, as soon as Mashiach comes, everything will be okay. Well, that's not okay with me. I don't agree with that at all. I believe that each and every one of you is a godly creature, an ISB, and I figured out what it stands for. Immortal, spiritual, biological entity. That's what an ISB is, and that's what we are. Fishing magician, right? So Zeolite, yeah, you should just call Lou directly. If you don't have it, go to that video I do every Tuesday, and the phone number is right there. But the Zeolite is way better than carbon filtration. It's like twice as good, if not more. Okay, so yeah, we went through that. So I want to teach ascension without any boxes. I mean, if you're waiting for Mashiach, go to Crown Heights. I did it for 25 years. It was wonderful. I had a wonderful experience. But when COVID-19 came along, the community was useless as fuck. Useless. And here is a great religion, a great practice. We had a great Rebbe who disappeared, and everything was in alignment. The Hasidus, the mysticism was brilliant. It was electrifying to sit and listen to a rabbi explain a portion of Hasidus. And yet they were dumbfounded. They were dumbasses when it came to COVID-19. Why? Because they were already paid off by the government. And in order for them to keep their yeshivas going and to keep people studying Torah all day and not having to make big livings and all this other stuff, whatever it is. But I'm sorry. I listen. I'm not here to attack religions because I don't know anything about it. I spent 25 years in the Hasidic community in Brooklyn, New York, in the Chabad community, which I loved. But when COVID-19 came, when the Holocaust came, this was a Holocaust, they were clueless. And that is not the kind of person these are not the kind of people I want to hang out with when there's a Holocaust, right? They're saying, Ellie, just get on the train, man. It'll be okay. Just do like everybody else. Get on the train. I'm like, are you kidding me? Get on the train to Treblinka? Get on the train to Auschwitz? Get the jab? I was like, no way, man. You guys are out of your minds. This is a Holocaust. So I was just like, and I say the same thing with Christianity. Christianity fell short, and one other thing I just want to say. If any religion talks about sacrifices, being human sacrifice, or that something was sacrificed, that is clearly Satanism. We've learned that much since 2019. Dolly Parton was, a wonderful woman. I don't know. Was she drinking adrenochrome? Is that why she looked so young? Okay, but this is an aside. Let's go back to Zachary Fisher. I think this guy is a genius. I love his work. I've invited him to the show. He said he's busy. Maybe he would have to push me a little bit. Become the flow. This is the key. And I'm going to go through some quote news, because not news in that it's time bound. If you're looking at anything in the news situation, let me just make sure the things. If you're looking at anything and you're saying, well, when is it going to happen? You're lost. You are in the matrix. You are an idiot. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I thought to myself before I did this broadcast, Ellie, just take it easy on people, man. They're doing the best they can. And I believe that. But if you are on this channel, if you've been on this channel for years and you're still waiting for, well, when is it going to happen? You have not been listening. You have not been paying attention. And I'm going to get to that in a little bit about what you should be doing. And the course that I'm planning will help with that. But Zachary Fisher really presents as well. So let's look at this together. Okay. Most people are content to drift wherever the current carries them. Nasara Jassar is coming next week. Mark Z said the dinar is going to get revalued. If you're letting your highly developed divine intellect be polluted with such, and there's another post I'm going to get to, you're fooling yourself. Anyway, most people are content to drift wherever the current carries them, shaped by broken systems, endless noise, and the expectation of others. But you were never built for that. The flow is not some force outside you. It moves through you. You are I can't, this drives me crazy about Restream. But let's get it over here. Okay, we'll do it again. I have to get permission for this. I mean, that's just so matrixy. Okay, here we go. So here, I mean, all this nonsense that I have to go through. But you were not built for that. The flow is not some force outside of you. It is not a date. It is not the coolest podcaster you can think of. It is not Ariel telling you, well, the dinar, I mean, really, we've been doing this for years. Anyway, the flow is not some force outside of you. It moves through you. You are the current. You are the force that changes direction, breaks through resistance, and reshapes reality through intention, courage, and action. Action is the key. Don't go with the flow. I saw this beautiful thing. This John Gold, this beautiful woman, beautiful blonde lady, was saying, after after 2019, I started to invest, and I started to realize that every part of the taxes and so on. And then her conclusion was, but I have Jesus. And I'm like, what? That's not the answer. That's what the cabal wants you to believe. You don't have to worry about your problems because you have Jesus. You have Mashiach. That's what in my community. They don't have to worry about ascension. They're waiting for Mashiach to do it. Okay? So don't go with the flow. Become the flow. This is the fourth way, fifth way, whatever you want to call it. We are leading the world into a new level of consciousness. When you embody the truth, you stop chasing and start creating. You stop following and start leading. That's why I want to get the Council of Elders together through this course, people coming together that are students of ascension, like Matt Myers says, right? To all together, because together we have tremendous power. And stop waiting for the world to change and become the force that moves everything forward. Let me read that again. You stop waiting for the world to change. You stop waiting for the signal that the EBS is coming, that the Jassar is coming next week, that Mark Z said the dinars are coming. It was it 5 years ago, 3 years ago? Now, somebody told me, no, he doesn't really do that. But the fact that he's directing mental people's minds towards in this direction is okay. Become the flow. Don't go with the flow, become the flow. All right. I want to add to this one thing, another post that I think is really important. This is in direct alignment with what we just read. Okay. Your diet is not only what you eat. Okay? It's not only what you eat. It is what you watch, what you listen to. If you're tuning into Mark Z for an hour a day for the last 5 years, trying to figure out when the dinar is coming in, you need serious help. You need help. Okay, what you read, the people you hang out with, and the things you subject your mind and soul to. Always be mindful of the things you put into your body emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Okay, and I'm just going to admit right now, because you would say, well, Ellie, you said you watch Netflix. I do watch Netflix, and I do it with the conscious intent to understand what the deep state is trying to tell me, and also to give myself a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of a change of mind. I like to change my mind from the the workings of living off grid. We work our asses off every day, all day long. I mean, a lot of time, not all day long. We also will stop and look at the wood. If we want to stop and look at the sunset, or just hang with each other. We don't have a schedule. We don't have anyone telling us, oh, you got to get your house done by October, or else, the inspector's coming up. We don't live with that pressure. And that's what the course will hopefully teach you how to do it. I did take the course in miracles. Okay, and look at this post. Let's look at this together. Right. Your diet is not just what you eat. It is what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, the people you hang out with. And that's why we had to ask some people to leave up here, because they brought the world with them. We don't want people to come up here and remind us that there's a matrix. We're quite happy living outside the matrix. We live in our own little world here, and it's wonderful. We live with nature. But anyway, the people you hang out with and the things you subject your mind and soul to. Always be mindful of the things you put into your body. So here, The slavery ends the day the people unite and say, hell no. Moraine tax, taxes, rates, duties, license. When government taxation office, the slavery ends the day the people unite and say, hell no. No taxes, no licenses, no no permission. I do not need your permission to live my life. I am a sovereign individual. Okay. Yeah. Q. Okay, this is another one. To own a house, you are expected to work 30 years, pay millions in taxes and bank mortgage interests. Work, pay, die, never really own it. Or just go and claim land and live there. Much easier. Claim it, live it, own it, freedom over finance. That's basically what we do here. We are here. We live it. We love it. We are on the land. We're building a house because we don't, I don't want to live in a box. I can't do it. I was going to upload some pictures. I didn't get around to it. I'm sorry. Let's just see some other things. They can't control people who are self dependent and know how to take care of themselves. That is why they don't teach you the basic skills of survival at school. They teach you how to depend on the system. Buy land, make passive income, stop watching the news. Okay. Th- this is. Uh, This is interesting. If there's food in your fridge, clothes on your body, a roof above, and a bed to sleep in, you're richer than 75% of the world. If you have some money and the freedom to move, you're already in the top 18%. If you're, and I have to go back. Okay. I'll just read this quickly. Uh, if you're, let's go back. Let's go back here. If your body is healthy today, you're luckier than a million people who won't survive the week. And if you can read this, see this, understand this, you're more fortunate than 3 billion people who can't. So pause, breathe, be thankful. You're already living someone else's prayer. The life you complain about is the life someone else is praying for right now. Stay blessed. Okay, that's a big deal, man. Okay, so let me just see if there's anything else that there was another post that I may go to. Yeah, it's this post: timelines, patterns, and what's actually happening. And this is a really cool summary that I probably will delve into uh, in a moment or two. I think I want to go to this post. Let me just go here and go show more. Okay, okay, and I just want to spend a few moments talking what about the idea behind the course. Okay. Okay. So if you're still fighting the system because you're still caught in it, it's not about fighting the system. It's about ceasing to hold it together. Non-cooperation. Yeah, I agree with that, Jason. That's good. Yeah, if you're still fighting the system, right? You're still in it. Cooperation. Cooperation. Yes. Yeah. I mean, but the words are like kind of like watery. They can bend. They can be misinterpreted. Cooperation, I think, but if you're not there, and this is the key to this course, if you're not ascended to some degree, if you're not on the ascension pathway, then you're just going to be a waste of time anyway. So let me just explain briefly what it means, and then we'll go. Can I have a little water? Can I drink some of yours? I won't drink it. Yeah. Okay. So here's the basic thing, and I was talking to Shelby about this morning. What does it mean for me, from my point of view, to ascend? From my basic point of view, is that you value your thoughts. You get out of the worried, out of the victim mind. You get out of thinking about when is it going to happen. You get out of what do the neighbors think. You get completely, and this takes time. This is what my course is going to be about. You get out of this whole layer of the brambles that are inside your mind that you've developed since you were 3 years old, coping mechanisms, things to tell about yourself, survival skills, these kinds of things. All when your mind becomes an empty space, when you're not thinking anything up here. Okay, this is the course. This is what my course is going to be. The real revolution is the evolution of consciousness. Absolutely. And that's what Q says: focus, focus, ascend. What is what can you really do in this world? You can't get me some water? No? Okay. Um, Clear this area, clear the monkey mind. I remember as a student of meditation, the first thing I did was observe my thoughts. And I had no idea how busy it was in there. I was like, look at my thoughts? What do you mean? I had no idea what that even meant. And I started to meditate and I started to see all the thoughts that were flying by my mind, all the worries, all the hostilities, all the anger, all the everything was floating by. And they said, well, just look at it passively and allow it to just go by. When so I've been working on watching my thoughts for many, many decades now. And I reached a point, and I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, I'm just telling you where I'm holding. I don't have thoughts in this part of my mind. I do, actually, I do. And I see them and I reject them outright. I say, you want to criticize that person? You want to feel hostility towards them? I'm like, I don't have time for that bullshit. So I do see it. I still see it. I just don't entertain it. I don't let it go to the level of, let's examine this idea. Walks alone, not in exiles, but in sovereignty, truth, and demands distance from illusion, right, and becomes a mark of those who see clearly. I totally agree, Jason. But what I'm trying to do, set up with this course, is to find a way that those of us who have achieved this level, and I'm sure there are many people who are on this level, and those of you who want to achieve that level. Remember, this didn't happen overnight for me either. I've been working on this ascension process, struggling with it, begging, I just want to be, and then all of a sudden it's just like, it's just not an issue anymore. It's gone. I'm in there. You get through. I'm not saying I'm an ascended master. I'm just saying I don't have this level of, my God, what's really happening? What's President Trump going to do? What are the bad guys? The cabal, the deep state, the Fed. The Fed is going to, the taxes, that's on my car payment, and what am I going to have for lunch next Tuesday? And what does Aunt Susie really think of me? And that shit is gone, man. It's gone. And it started with, I think it really started with the Course in Miracles when they told me, and it was supposedly channeled through Jesus, which now this is an acceptable in my way of understanding. If there was such a guy as Jesus, which I assume there was, he would not be telling you just worship me. I died for your sins, that kind of bullshit. He'd be saying, fucking get busy. You can do what I did, but more so. Okay, so this is like kind of like an ingrown mission for me. It's just like, why do people keep worshiping this poor Jewish I'm a Jewish carpenter, and I feel like I might, maybe I could understand some little piece of this, but it is said that it's not good for him. His soul does not enjoy this kind of, and it's satanic. Okay, but again, I want to go there. I don't want to offend more people than I have to. But the whole point is to clear this area, or at least make it a place that you are sovereign to, so that if a thought comes in that you don't want, you just say, "Hey, man, you got to be kidding me. I don't have time to think that. I got." So that is the first level in the course, will be to study this. Now, do I expect people? I tried. I for years I did not. I was not able to do it. But then it just happened. So, but you have to be on the road for it to happen, I think. Then the next step, and I've gone through this a lot. The entity that turned me under the three-letter agency for helping humanity for the average 24 year. Yeah. Okay. That's nice. So yeah, I mean, like, my relationship to the 301 thing is just like, I don't have time for that stuff. I mean, yeah, they're right. I'm sure they're right. I'm sure I should have a foundation up here. I'm not entertaining the matrix. I'm not dealing with them. I got better things to do. If they come after me, I'll deal with it. That's the way I've been doing this. But I'm not going to go to town and say, I just built a house. Could you send an inspector up? Are you kidding me? Could you send somebody to check out the shit in my septic tank so I can get a license? You think I'm really going to do that? I'm like, fuck you. I don't want anything to do. You stay in town and I'm staying up here. I'm going to build a life up here. This is the life I want. Anyway, the first step is to clear your mind. The second step is to use that clarity. This is just in my opinion, and I'm just going to go through this briefly, and then I'm going to go to this post that I think is a good explanation for what's going on outside of us, without a lot of time stuff and the like. Mm. Okay. All right. So, all right. So the second step, and these are not things that you can just jump into. It takes time. The second step is to use that emptiness as to become an empty vessel that can be filled. If you have a vessel full of rocks, for example, you can't put in so much water. You can't put in, but if you're this vessel that we call your mind, and it could be related to your reptilian mind and all this other stuff, if it is clear and you're not thinking about, my God, what am I going to have for lunch? And you're just like, hey, man, I'm just open. You can receive information directly from your higher self. That's as far as I've gone. So I live in a space generally where if I see something that I don't really want to deal with, I just say, "Feh, I'm not going there." And I become enough of an empty vessel that my vessel gets filled 24/7 by divine juice. Okay, it doesn't mean I'm always an angel. I mean, I have a temper. I can act out. I can say nasty things, but I am generally aware of the information that is coming to me. And then sometimes I'm lucky enough to have James around, and I'll run it by him, and he'll say, "Yeah, but let's do this." And that's why I want to develop this community of ascended masters to work together, because the ascension process must spread like a wildfire throughout humanity for us to get to the next step. I don't care what anybody says about the EBS, the DNR, XRP, your Jasara, the military's in control. None of that means shit if you are not a vessel for your higher self. And so I'm actively looking for a way to make a process so that we may contact each other, we may ask each other questions. And like I said, I'm a student of ascension as well as you. I do not consider myself a master, but I have developed some mastery. However, I'm sure there are people on the channel that are a much higher level, and they will have the opportunity to come into this space, into this safe space that we are making, and help others. we're trying to design it so that the chat will be there 24/7. So I mean, I've done this in various ways through other channels, through Telegram. I've tried it through locals and everything else, but and it works to a degree. But this is going to be like, a new try, an active where I'm actively participating in some kind of Zoomish situation for like an hour a week during the time we spend together, and then in the time after that, hopefully you'll be able to chat with each other. Okay, now let's go to the yeah yeah I like I said, um should I be looking, should I be spending hours and hours of my time making sure that we are okay up here and that the government is going to come up in a helicopter and kick us out? Yeah, maybe. But my belief is that if God wants that, if the divine wants that, that somebody will come up here and say, okay, listen, man, I'm going to help you do this, this, and this. And that's how I'll help serve the community up there. And the rest of the time, I'm going to walk around on these hills and look for gold and silver. I'm not opposed to that. We collect a lot of rocks up here, and a lot of them look really interesting.
Yeah, I'll get you water if you still have to.
Okay, sorry, baby. Okay, so yeah, when you live in the okay, so now let's go to this last part of this video, and examine this thought stream because I think it's well worth reading. I don't think I'm going to read everything because it's quite long, but it tells like what's going on in the outer world. But and like I said, I totally agree with Zachary Fisher to be the flow, be an empty vessel, communicate directly with divine input. I get for as an example, when I have been in the divine flow as far as building this house. Remember yesterday I met somebody and they said, I said, well, what if I need an air conditioner? Would you help me? And they're like, well, can you show us plans? And I said, plans? I don't have any. We don't need no stinking plans. And they said, well, how do you build a house? I'm like, I build it because my divine higher self tells me everything the next step. So somebody came up here visiting us and they took a strong hand and they said, oh no, you have to do this. And they did that. And they totally disrupted my plan. But it is my opinion that this was part of the divine flow as well, and that now I have to work around the plan. Now I don't have as much. I had all this figured out. I had an exact amount of lumber to finish it the way I wanted to finish it. Now my friend came along and he did this building. He started this structure, and now I have to change it slightly. But you know what? I think it's cool as hell. And this is all part of divinity. It doesn't mean that I've but it does require me to change my thinking. And at the end of the day, that's what it's really all about, is having the ability to change continually, be in a state of change, period. Okay, so let's now visit this post together and see what I'm going to go through it fast, but I think you'll like it. Okay, here we go. Okay, timelines, patterns, and what's actually happening. Imagine the global financial system is a building. It was built after World War II. For 80 years, money moved through this building between countries, between banks, between people. Some of that money was clean, a lot of it wasn't. And the building was designed in a way that made it very hard to tell the difference, right? This is it. It's since World War II, man. We thought World War II was supposed to be the end of all wars. No, it wasn't. It was just another cabal event, a satanic event designed to kill lots of beautiful, handsome young men and destroy countries and rewrite lines and create enough chaos so that we'd be thankful that they came in with the UN and all these other stupid things, right? We'd be like, oh gosh, they're going to save us from, but they created the mess in the first place. When you live in the desert, super cold water, and I don't generally like cold water, is very good. Okay, so, excuse me. That building is being demolished and rebuilt right now by multiple countries at the same time. That's the whole thing. Everything else is details. And I would say don't even bother with the details. Just ascend, become an empty vessel, and let God tell you. You will co-create with the creator, and you will figure out what you want to do. You want to live out in the desert with us, man? I mean, I saw a very cool property today. I would love to buy that property. If somebody had some money and they want to, I don't know. I'm just saying. The whole thing, everything else details. The old building, the old system ran on opacity. Money could move across borders through shell companies nobody owned, banks that didn't ask questions, and countries that looked the other way. That's not for you and I. If you and I, like I once tried to send a few $1,000s to Canada, it was a disaster, man. But for the elites, okay, everything is smoothie, cushy, easy. If you were a drug cartel, a corrupt official, a sanctions invader, or a money launderer, the old system worked great for you. You could hide behind layers of corporations, move money through compliant banks, and nobody could trace it back to you. The people who benefited from the system weren't just criminals. They were embedded inside governments, banks, and institutions. They weren't outside the system breaking in. They were inside the system using it. A bank executive turning off compliance controls. A government official moving his family's money offshore. A regulator looking the other way for the right price. Think of it as a franchise. McDonald's doesn't have one owner. It has thousands of operators who use the same system. The illicit network works the same way. It's not one organization. It's a class of people in every country who all exploit the same opacity. Opacity. I'm not sure. The that you couldn't see into the system. They're loyal to the system, not to any flag. This is a transnational criminal cartel. Okay, we've gone through that. The demolition. Multiple countries are now tearing that system apart, not together in some secret room separately, using their own laws for their own reasons, but hitting the same targets at the same time. The United States is rewriting who gets to cooperate in the financial system. Treasury, not the Federal Reserve, is now running the show. Treasury is licensing stablecoin banks. Treasury is writing the compliance rules. Treasury is managing the bond market. Treasury is issuing record penalties. The Fed used to be the most powerful financial institution in the world. Now the Fed sets the overnight interest rates, and Treasury does everything else. The new Fed chair actually volunteered to hand authority back to Treasury before he was even confirmed. China is purging its own institutions from the inside. Over 100 senior military officers removed. Security regulators prosecuted. Politburo members expelled. The largest real estate fraud in history, life sentence. 2.4 billion in fines. They're specifically targeting officials who move their families and money to America. 60% of the military's anti-corruption watchdogs didn't show up at the last meeting. The purge is so deep, it's consuming the people who were running the purge. Russia is seizing assets and financially erasing anyone who left the country and criticized the government. Two new laws: one freezes your property the moment you're charged, no trial needed. The other cuts you off from banking, property, passports, and every government service. They call it civic death. Several hundred thousand people who fled after the Ukraine invasion are the targets. Takes effect September 1st. Saudi Arabia is arresting officials by the hundreds. India is freezing political party accounts and tracing money through Dubai. Remember, according to our sources, for Nasara Jassara to be activated, all corruption, all wars must end. Saudi Arabia is official. Yeah, okay. The EU is banning crypto platforms and sanctioning Russian shipping networks. Australia is shutting down crypto ATMs. The UK is seizing tankers. Nobody coordinates this. Nobody coordinated this. The interests aligned. Everybody's just doing the same thing. That's why I want to have this like alignment of us people into ascendancy. The new building. The United States is building the replacement system. Here's how it works. Treasury published rules that say if you want to issue a stablecoin, a digital dollar, you need a license. To get that license, you follow Treasury's rules. You submit to sanction screening. You let OFAC monitor your transactions, and you back every coin with U.S. Treasury bonds. Now, here's the key part. If you're a foreign company that wants to offer stablecoins to American consumers, your country needs to have a deal with the United States, a reciprocal arrangement. No deal, no access to 330 million American consumers. The United States is simultaneously negotiating trade deals with about 60 countries. These trade deals aren't just about tariffs, they're also about financial access. Sign the trade deal, and your country's stablecoin issuers can reach American marketers. Don't sign, they can't. One signature, three gates. Trade deals, financial deals, digital currency deals, all the same piece of paper. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve is banned by law from issuing a digital dollar. Banned by a vote of 89 to 10 in the Senate. That's not an accident. If the Fed issued a digital dollar, it would be free and risk-free, and nobody would use the private stablecoins that Treasury is licensing. The ban protects the architecture. Let me just see how much long this is. It's very long. Okay, so I'm gonna. Okay, it's not actually. We've done pretty well. The Fed isn't being attacked; it's being made irrelevant, built around. Nobody gave the speech about ending the Fed. They just built a new system that doesn't need it. The sorting. Everything runs through a sorting mechanism. You're either inside or outside. Countries that sign trade deals with the U.S. are inside. Their stablecoin issuers get access. Their banks get charter. The enforcement cooperation with American enforcement. Countries that don't sign are outside. The financial institutions can't reach American consumers. Their transactions get flagged. Their citizens get designated. This isn't theoretical. It happened in real time last week. On August 24th, the United States removed Syria from the terrorism list after 47 years and invited investment. The same day, the United States launched the largest sanctions package in history against Iran. Syria moved inside, Iran got pushed further outside. Same day, same Treasury Secretary announcing both. The Mexican drug cartel has been hit with 15 enforcement actions across 5 countries in 18 months. The Chinese government is prosecuting officials whose money is in America. Taiwan is indicting people for smuggling AI chips to China. Even though Taiwan doesn't have a law against it, they used document forgery charges because they didn't have the right statute. They prosecuted anyway because the interests aligned. The tension. Here's what makes this complicated. The same government that's building all of this is also dismantling some of the tools that make it work. The Corporate Transparency Act required shell companies to tell the government who actually owns them. That was the tool that would have mapped who owns the mysterious properties, the anonymous LLCs, the hidden bank accounts. It was permanently eliminated on August 11th. The data was ordered destroyed. 8 days later, a Chinese national was sentenced for laundering 92 million through shell companies for the cartels. The exact type of entity the transparency law was designed to expose. The same Treasury, the same week, issued a record 125 million bank penalty and killed the shell company transparency requirement. Tightened enforcement on big players, loosened transparency on small ones. Both things are true at the same time. The system is getting tighter for the big fish and looser for the small ones. Whether that's by design or by contradiction is the question the framework hasn't resolved. What nobody's talking about. Three major powers are all targeting people who live between systems. China targets officials with American exposure. All this is documented. All this is from government sources, court filings, Federal Register publications, Treasury press releases, OFAC designations, parliamentary records, official statistics. None of it is classified. None of it is leaked. It is all sitting on government websites in plain sight, waiting for someone to connect the dot. The old building is coming down. The new one is going up. And the people who lived in the walls of the old one, the ones who used the opacity to hide, are being flushed out by every government at once. That's the 40,000-foot view. Timelines, patterns, the general's words, not mine. All I did was read the receipts. I am the guy on the couch, and you have been debriefed. Okay, this is exciting, right? I can't think of anything more exciting. They really laid out exactly what's going on. The old building, the corrupt establishment is coming down. The new one is being built. When is this going to happen? I don't know. Nobody knows. If anybody's telling you that they know, they're lying. And again, let's go back to, let's see if I can go to the Become the Flow. But remember, this is critical to a feeling of sovereignty and enlightenment. That, okay, your diet is not only what you eat, it is what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, the people you hang out with, and the things you subject your mind and soul to. Always be mindful of these things you put into your body, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And with that, I rest. I rest my case. We are ascending as a community. This is a group ascension project. I am going to be crafting some kind of a course in how to talk to your divine self, which is something that once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you become a master of this kind of communication process, you are sovereign. Okay, so let's go to a quick tune, and all right, here we go.
Waking up on the front porch, Sunday at dawn. The night was hotter than hell and forever long. I can see the first light breaking through the trees. I feel the changes in the cool breeze of freedom. a new morning. We never saw it coming, hiding in plain sight. Banksters taking power, stealing our lives. They were looking to bury us in debt, shame and fear. But our roots grew stronger as we reached into the air with freedom. Freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new with each day we're rising up in this world with the power of love, with the power of peace, the power of joy, the power of truth, and the power of It's a new morning. It's a new morning. It's a new
Well, thanks so much. Thanks for being here. If you have any health issues, check out the X2O machine. It's an amazing machine. You have an opportunity to talk to Dr. Stacy. She's brilliant. She'll help you with your patches. Get your patches, which is a light-based technology. It puts nothing in your body. Amazing technology. We were talking to Dr. Mel yesterday about gut health, and she really loves the energy patch. That's her favorite patch because she says any gut issues that you have will be resolved by this. The energy patches, which was the first patch that, in my understanding, that David Schmidt invented. He invented it for the Navy SEALs. So this is a proven technology. It's been around for 20 years. We love our X2O machine. We love our patches. We ran out of X39 patches and we're struggling to recoup them. We don't always have resources, but hopefully maybe teaching this course maybe put some bread on our table. I don't know, but we're fine. We're happy. We're fine, and we live the way we live. We're not able to complete projects as fast as we would like, but sometimes we have to wait for the finances. Anyway, use the force. May the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force. Use source. Become aware of the fact that you are source and you are just a thought away from connecting completely to the divine. One of the titles for this course could be how to talk to God. And in my opinion, this is how you talk to God. You clear your mind and you allow things to unfold and thoughts to unfold and things that come to you in a divine providence sort of way. So let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock the world.